Hello, and welcome to this review of the Suddenly a Duke historical romance book series by Alexa Aston. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot. You're watching Random Olive Reads. First up is Portrait of the Duke, and we start with an adorable prologue with an outspoken teenager warning away one of her spoiled sister's suitors and letting him know that he isn't a real contender because he's just a Viscount. Despite the age gap and both of their youths, there's definitely a spark of chemistry between them. 10 years later, Lady Margaret is finally ready to make her debut after caring for her ill mother, mourning her death, and then mourning her father's death. However, Margaret has no intention to marry, but she wants to build a business painting portraits. Our young Viscount Daniel is now a duke looking to get married this season. He had originally sought out Margaret in previous years, but she was nowhere to be found. As he sees her now in the present, there's an existing connection between their grandmothers, who had been friends when they were younger. So Daniel's grandmother is basically the best wing woman around, making sure to keep Margaret close by and supporting her art. This was a relatively low angst romance with instant attraction between our main characters. Book two of the series is Music for the Duke. We have a tragic prologue for Fia, where she's a 6-year-old girl being tormented by her cousin and the heir to her father's earldom. Many years later, we see a shocking and tragic demise of Henry's grandfather and father within the same day, making him a duke. A year after that, they both somehow make friends with the now married Duke and Duchess from book one of the series, who assist in getting Fia out of her cousin's house and also assist Henry in wooing the girl. Fia was treated horribly by her cousin after her parents' death, first by refusing her debut into society, and then moving her into the attic, and then hiring her out for music lessons where the cousin collects all the money. It's a rough life for Fia, and when we think she'll appreciate being courted by a duke, she's afraid of scandal and she would rather live independently and rely on her skills as a musician to survive. Book three of the series is Polishing the Duke. An old duke reveals a deathbed secret that his first love and their child is not actually a bastard and is indeed the next duke. And he, on his deathbed, hires the lady Nelissa to polish him up for society after the solicitor informs him of the change of circumstance. Nelissa has been ruined by her father's debts and subsequent suicide, and has made a business of cleaning up long lost relatives to titles and making them proper gentlemen. She meets Pierce, his mother and sister, when he becomes the new duke. While Pierce has held a grudge against his father for many years, he quickly learns that many people will rely on him now that he has the title. Add in a younger half brother who thought he was the heir and is suddenly not, and we have a lot of drama. Though Nelissa has no hopes of marrying, she and Pierce are instantly attracted to each other, and I really enjoyed reading how well she got along with Pierce's family and how she explains that even though spending a lot of money may seem frivolous, it actually leads to employment and income for others, and it sort of perpetuates the economical cycle. Book four is Designs on the Duke. We have a tragic upbringing for Elijah, whose crusty old duke of a father had accused his wife of being unfaithful and tossed the pregnant duchess off to a small cottage at one of his estates with no money or support. She gave birth to twins and eventually sent them off to war. While in battle, the elder of the twins passes away, leaving Elijah to be the heir. He then receives a letter that his father has died, leaving his brother the next duke, except his brother is gone too, meaning Elijah's the duke. He's back in England to reclaim his birthright and set his things to rights. Unfortunately, the crusty old duke was a spiteful piece of work who sold off every single piece of furniture in the entire house. Luckily, they run into Abby, who is soon to open her own furniture shop filled with her designs. Abby had lived in poverty until her father's death when her new guardian took her on and brought her with him on his worldwide travels. With all of the knowledge that she gained traveling the world, she developed a keen sense of style and design. So neither Elijah nor Abby are interested in marriage. Eliza doesn't want to continue his horrible father's bloodline, and Abby doesn't want to give up her independence. But as they start working together to furnish his home, they begin to admire each other's strength and honor more than even their initial attraction. Fashioning the Duke is book 5 of the series. Now, Fox is the much younger second son of a duke, never expecting to inherit, when he receives word that his older brother has died, leaving two nieces in his care. At the solicitor's office, he has a chance meeting with Delaney, who is there to sell off her millinery shop after her half brother has basically barred polite society from shopping there. Delaney is the illegitimate daughter of an earl who was always favored and adored by her father. Fox decides to hire Delaney to assist in outfitting his nieces for the upcoming season, and also pretty much instantly decides that he wants her as his duchess. She doesn't want to give up her independence to marry, so he's got some work cut out for him wooing her. This was another enjoyable read of the series. I really liked how Fox takes to his responsibilities and takes care of his nieces. Love Blooms with the Duke is book 6 of the series. We start with a tragic prologue for Willa, the daughter of a playwright and an actress who are in a tumultuous relationship and are horrible, negligent parents. After her parents have dramatically and scandalously passed away, Willa has distanced herself from the theater and works as a ladies' companion and governess. Xander is the fourth son of a duke and often ignored as his birth caused the death of his mother. And he very suddenly inherits the dukedom and two troublemaker nieces to care for. In the search for yet another governess, he runs into and hires Willa for the job. While Xander was previously an indolent rake, he has taken up his responsibilities quite well and dedicated himself to the care of his nieces. In getting to know Willa and her teaching strategies, he grows even more impressed with her and sets his mind on making her his duchess. Willa is wary of the former rake due to her past poor experiences with employers and really wants to avoid his company to avoid temptation. However, we can see how much Xander has turned into a responsible duke who loves his new nieces and his newly built family. Not all is perfect, since Xander has yet to realize Willa's background in the theater and all the scandal, but we'll see how this one all works out. Training the Duke is book 7 of the series. Finola is the daughter of an earl who was orphaned and then neglected by her much older sisters, only to be taken in by a lonely baron. In her first season in London, Finola was publicly humiliated by a viscount who led her to believe he was courting her. After that, she retreated back to the country where she works to train hunting dogs. Many years after that, we meet Sai, who has recently left the army after an accident leaves him blind in one eye. Sai is the younger son of a duke, neglected by his father and older brother. When he gets home, he finds out that his father has died and his older brother is now the duke. His brother allows Sai to live at the hunting lodge at the edge of the property. So one day, when Finola is walking her dogs, the dogs discover and befriend Sai and his young charge Birdie. Finola and the Duke's lands border each other, though Sai does not admit that he is actually the brother of the Duke. We have a very quick and easy friendship between Finola and Sai, and then Birdie gets part of the mix when we realize he needs a schoolroom and he's really attached to the dogs. So the romance here builds very naturally, and it seems like these two are perfect for each other and will be well situated at Finola's home. However, we still have Sai's looming secret, and his brother is actually pretty ill. And lastly, we have Investigating the Duke, which is book 8 of the series. This is the final book where we get to see how Shelby becomes an accomplished Bow Street runner. Now, we've seen Shelby at work many times throughout the series, solving cases for the other sudden dukes. This book also features Jasper, the third son of a duke and a vicar, who suddenly becomes the duke when his father passes away from illness and his oldest brother drunkenly falls down the stairs, and we get a letter saying that his second oldest brother died at war. Now, the timing of his oldest brother's death, along with his father's death, seems to be suspicious, so Jasper heads out to hire a Bow Street runner to investigate. The very accomplished Shelby is assigned to the case, and she has to kind of get into the household, so she poses as a new secretary to blend in. Now, the romance here was fairly straightforward, with Jasper deciding pretty quickly he wants to marry Shelby after the investigation is over. However, finding out the cause of deaths for Jasper's family members is much more complicated and definitely intriguing. Now, this whole series was tied together through all these gentlemen who unexpectedly and suddenly inherited a dukedom. While they're all connected somehow and occur in chronological order, we do see recurring characters from book to book. You can easily read these as standalone books. Each one features a lady with a unique profession, so it's interesting to see all of these strong and independent women become unorthodox duchesses. The romance in all of these cases is pretty straightforward and low angst, but there's plenty of external drama to keep things interesting. This was another really great series from Alexa Aston. I'll definitely be reading more from this author, and at the time of this recording, this whole series is available on Kindle Unlimited. Thank you so much for watching this video. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.